Hello guys, Auto Talent here. I wanted to talk to you today about farms. Everybody has them, and at least if you're me, you don't like them. I mean, here's how you make a basic farm. And you have to plant the wheat and wait and then, hit it, and you might trample it and it turn into regular dirt. And it just gets to be a pain. I mean, I really was tired of dealing with this. I mean, I'd have to pay attention to this thing all the time, and I was just sick of it. So I thought there had to be a better way. And what I found was actually on the Tekkit wiki. So I would recommend that you go look at the Tekkit wiki at the automated farm tutorial thread. But there are some holes in it, which is what I wanted to cover here. But that's really a good start to learn how the farm actually works. Now, once you have a chance to look at that, and then I can show you the video here. And here's how it works. In this box here, now this is for flax, but it works the same for wheat. You just change the settings on the distribution pipe in the back, but you put in your bone meal here and your seeds, and here out would come your wheat, or in this case string. This used to be for wheat as well. And here's the on-off switch, which also isn't covered in the wiki. It really didn't have an on-off switch. It just kind of ran all the time, which I thought was silly. So here's how it works when you run it. You hit the switch, and we'll watch right here. Water goes away. The crop gets deployed, bone meal goes out and flushes it. Now the first cycle or two, it kind of will be out of sync, so you don't be alarmed if it doesn't work right the first time exactly. It won't hurt anything. So there's the crop, and there it goes, and it flushes it and the string and the seeds all down into the pipe. Now you generally want to shut it off during the flush cycle, just so it doesn't waste anything, because I think it can waste seeds if you don't do that. At least in the old version it did. Now I'll go back and kind of show you how this works underneath. It's a little cramped on this one. I'll show you the other one that's wired a little better. But basically, what you have here is there's a square of water behind this, and then here's a piston. Now the piston will cut the water off, and these are deployers. And what a deployer will do is it will use any item on the square in front of it like a player would. So, I mean, there are a billion possibilities in terms of that, but for what we use it for, there's tilled ground, it has seeds and bone meal in it. And it, the first cycle, it can't use bone meal on tilled crops, so it uses a seed. It plants a seed. And then it waits for a little bit, and then it uses the next item. Now you can't use a seed on a crop that's planted, so it uses the bone meal. I mean, it'll use it in the order of that they can, basically. So it'll use the bone meal, the crop will be full, and at this point the timer will make this go off, open the piston, the water will come out, and the water will flush the completed crop down into this pipe, which will suck it in. So basically what this pipe is right here, this is an obsidian pipe. And an obsidian pipe will take anything next to it into it. And it will do so better when it's powered. But in this case, since it's being fed by water, it doesn't need to be powered. I could power it. I mean, I could put an engine here and it would suck them in from probably like a square away. But it's not necessary. So basically, these are all wired together. And the deployers, at least, are the same. I mean, they don't have any sort of difference in their setup. You don't have to do anything. They're all placed facing that way, and it's all fine. And another thing to keep in mind, obviously, is you have to have water next to the crop, which is, you'll see it's under the glass here, just so that the ground will stay fertile. And the only reason I have a redstone here instead of a red alloy wire is the redstone didn't connect to the piston, and the way this is laid out, it did. I'll show you another way to do it where it's vastly bigger and a different way of wiring. It's a lot neater. So we'll come down here, and basically the way that this works is you come over here. This engine right here powers this wooden pipe, which is the input box. This is what puts stuff into it. So you see right there, that pipe. I could probably take this away. Yeah, I'm gonna get. Oh yeah, we don't get wet. That's pretty cool. Yeah, but I'll put it back. But you see there's that wooden pipe connected to the box. That will take items out of the box and put them into the system. So put that back. And the golden pipe is just to speed it up. That's all. They're not necessary. They just make it faster. Now, This pipe right here is really one of the big keys to the whole thing. It's a diamond transport pipe. Now what it will do is, let me go into it, it has different colors, and these colors correspond to sides of the pipe. So like for instance, if we look at the pipe, notice it has a blue side, a black side, a green side, and obviously the white side is the top there, and it would add more colors, you know, for different directions. So depending on if you have this north, south, east, west, what direction you placed it down, it'll have different things. So what you basically do is, you know, you click on it here when it's placed, and whatever you have in what color is what direction the pipe will send it when it goes into the pipe. So if something comes into the pipe from any direction, it doesn't matter what it is. If you have a bone meal coming in, the bone meal will be sent out blue. And, you know, obviously the same with any other color. Whatever comes into it, if it matches one of these, will be sent out that color. I don't really know what happens if you have something that isn't on here. I think it just kind of goes around randomly. But for your purposes, if you're, you know, just using your farm, this is all you got to do. So you do that. And also another important thing is, if you're not familiar with pipes, keep in mind that stone pipe and cobblestone transport pipe, that's what I meant to say, transport pipe, are the same thing. They do the same thing. The only difference is they're different pipes so that you can place them next to each other and they don't connect automatically. So you got to alternate between a stone and a cobblestone. That way they don't, otherwise it'll just join, you know, randomly every square, and you don't want that because you want to keep them separate. Now the other key to this setup is the distribution pipes here. So what they do, and I'll click into one, is it's kind of the same idea as the diamond pipe, but they're not able to filter items specifically. They filter ratios. So one item will be sent up to teal and 5 will be sent on to red. Now that's because there are 6 deployers, and you do, you know, here's your one, that'll get 1 seed or 1 bone meal, and then send the 5 on, and the next one will do 1 and 4 on, and so on until you hit the end, and the end doesn't even have 1. It just gets its 1 from the last one. So you don't really need to worry about that. Now as for the wiring is actually far more simple than it looks, and I'll demonstrate it a little bit more clearly on my other farm, which is this times 4, because this was the first one I ever made, and it isn't laid out as well as it could be. But basically what you have here is these AND gates are just for the power switch. See, there are 2 AND gates. They are both fed by that switch up here where, you know, the power switch is right there. Those feed the AND gates. Now the way that works is you set them so that if that switch is on and the other side, like for instance this timer or this sequencer, hits that gate, then it will turn on. Now you do this, that way you can shut the machine off, otherwise the machine would just run all the time and you would use bone meal really fast. So all you got to do, the only important thing to remember when you're placing AND gates is what direction the torch is facing, the single torch, that's the output. And you can easily tell what direction your, you know, channels are by what this is. I mean, see, this one's off, which means it's not in use, and these 2 are on, that's the side that you're using. Now basically the way you do it is, this is a timer, which it's not. I think I gotta have a wrench to change this. Now there we go. Yeah, so you set the timer to 4 seconds. And that means, you know, this is hooked to the deployer, so every 4 seconds the deployers will be given a pulse, and that will make them use whatever they have in them, you know, like I explained earlier. And over here is a sequencer, and the way this works is it's almost the same thing. You set it to 4 seconds, so it will do 1 rotation every 4 seconds, or it's 4 seconds between between sequences. So what it does is, you know, it'll spend 4 seconds on this one, 4 seconds on this one, and then these 2 aren't used. You wire those 2 together, which means it will be on for 8 seconds and off for 8 seconds, which means that basically what this does will fit perfectly in between those 2 things. So that's what actuates the piston. Now basically when you get this all set up, I mean, it'll work just like that. You know, You just put in your bone meal and your seeds, and once you get the seeds going, it really will make more than you can use, and you might actually want to go check your deployers and make sure they're not too full, because they start doing weird things when they're full. So just make sure that you don't have it packed with seeds. Now I'll show you the next design I made of that, which is pretty cool, I think. It's basically quadrupled the farm. So the farm there was just 6. This is 24. And it's the same thing, the same idea. I mean, the only difference is you gotta split a couple more transport pipes off, from your boxes. So here's the weed out, here's the seed bone meal in. And the switch, I mean, it's the same thing. I'll show you underneath here. Basically, what you got is the same thing. I mean, it's obviously the piping will be a little neater on this because I had some more time. I mean, here's that same circuit as before. Wires up, here's the on switch. This is the on switch. Here's your AND gate. Here's your timer. And I figured out you can run your wires on the top of panels, so it makes it a little neater. Like, notice that I just have this panel running all the wire, so all the deployers are fed by that. And in this configuration, all the deployers are still wired together, even though there's 24 of them. They still run the same way. And this is just to run them underneath to connect your other side. And this is for the switch. But basically, exact same idea. You see, here's your transport pipes. They split down. Here's the one that feeds both sides, so it'll send one to the yellow side, one to the red side. And I actually figured out you can make one diamond pipe feed both sides, because really they do the same thing, so all you got to do is hook them together. And this iron pipe here is just to prevent them from reversing. So the way an iron pipe works is whatever side is open, the clear side, is where things can go out. Things can go in any side, but they'll only go out that side. So basically it means that nothing can accidentally go back into your pipes here. So the stuff comes down the obsidian pipe, goes in here. You don't want them to accidentally go all the way through and go back to the other obsidian pipe side, so they're automatically funneled into the diamond pipe. And then the diamond pipe obviously is set the same way as the other one, to send them out whatever color is appropriate. And so it sends them down here, and these two pipes are just the to and from of the other side. So you see, it comes down here. Right here is the the input box, so it'll send. Actually, that's the output box. Yeah, that's the output box right there. So here's where the wheat goes in from both sides. It comes from here, goes in this side, and that's from the other side. And this is the input. So here's. It had to kind of run the hoses weird the way to make the boxes look neat upstairs. So here's the input. It comes down. It goes around there. And here's where it splits to feed both sides. So this is the same as the other side, basically. Here's where it comes in. Here's where the diamond pipe is fed, and it splits up there. And this feeds these two sides. So I know it seems like a lot at first to do, but once you get going, and I mean, if you look at the wiki, it'll also help a lot. But the main thing that to keep in mind is the wiki doesn't really explain how these pipes work, and nothing I found really. I was confused at first because, I mean, I know it might seem obvious, but I was like, why does it let you set any number to these? I didn't really understand it, and I didn't even notice that the colors were the same, because on my laptop they didn't really match what the interface showed. The colors are kind of off. So yeah, you just got to remember how these pipes work and that you set them properly. And I mean, you can watch it working from underneath and make sure that stuff isn't getting stuck and that you don't have an issue with your piping. And here, I'll turn it on and so I'll show you how it works from underneath when it's going. So here, it's on, and here you go. I was supposed to see one sequence up here. So you see it plants them. They're all planted. Then it flushes them all out. And you can use one square. If you do it this way, you can use one square of water to feed two sides, because one square of water will go 7 blocks in one direction. So that's why you can make space for the piston and 6 deployers. So this is all fed with 2 things of water. See, there's how it works from above. Now I'll go underneath and you can see how it goes from under there. Now occasionally you might have some stuff get stuck at the end. Don't worry about it. It'll just get flushed out when the water runs again. So as you can see, here's the seeds getting split and going back to the deployers. Now if you were to put bone meal in, they would go the same way. And if you go down this way, another important thing to note is that seeds will stay on the side that they're on. They won't go to the other side because they're sent out the distribution pipe on each side. So all seeds that come into this pipe will go out green. So you see here it goes. It's going down and splitting the seeds to go to the deployers. And then here's the wheat going out. And I should put some pipes to speed it up because look at how slow it goes. But yeah, that's how it works. And if you watch here, you'll see here it goes up into here. It'll send one there. 1, 2, 3. And you notice these pipes aren't perfect either. There will be different amounts in each deployer, you know, according to the ratio. I mean, they work pretty well, but they're not completely, like, I think that was correct, but they're not completely foolproof. I mean, it's good enough, though. Once you get it going, you don't really have to worry about it. And you'll see it's sending them and splitting them all off evenly. Well, I hope this was informative for you guys. If you have any questions, I mean, feel free to ask me. Check out my channel. I hope to post some more videos for you guys in the future. Thanks.